Hey everyone, back with another saber demo video for you, breaking down another commission build. This is a KRSabers Empire Strikes Back Graflex for Martyn. So Martyn reached out via Facebook, and by the sounds of it he has a few sabers already, mostly base lit, kind of cheaper end stuff used for dueling, and he was looking to get his first actual kind of high-end replica saber. And he had his eye on the Graflex, being the original saber, I guess, in a way, from A New Hope and then Empire Strikes Back. And the KRSabers Graflex kit was announced right as we were discussing which option he could go with, because obviously 89 Sabers make one, there's a few others knocking around, but this seemed like a good option in that it's very budget friendly and it's incredibly accurate, and also coming with a new chassis designed by Rick over at Goth3 Designs. The entire package kind of comes together quite nicely in quite an affordable way. So this is it. This is the hilt. This is my first time seeing one of the KRSabers Graflex kits. It's really, really nice. I've not got many complaints with it, to be honest. It came together very, very well. And obviously it comes as a plain kind of Graflex tube, and then you can add on the accessories that come in a little kit based on whether you're configuring it in the A New Hope style or the Empire Strikes Back style. I've got a few Graflex kits myself, and this is probably one of the better ones that I've actually ever seen. It looks really, really nice. Yeah, and dirt cheap as well. So I'll just run you through some of the modifications for the Empire Strikes Back configuration. We've got the second red facing button on the front. This button is non-active, it doesn't do anything, so I've glued the plunger in place so that it doesn't rattle. This front button is just for show. The back button is the activation switch, big red one on the back. In some shots in Empire Strikes Back, there's no little piece of metal, the beer tab, which it kind of holds the button underneath there, that little strip of metal. That's not visible in some of the shots. I did try taking it off on this kit, but I couldn't do it without popping the rivet through from the other side, which I'd rather not do. So I've just left that on for now. I mean, Martyn, if you want to remove that one day, you can, but I've just left it on there because I didn't want to risk damaging the hilt, really. This little switch on the side is your auxiliary switch. I added some foam padding underneath this so it didn't rattle, and instead has a nice kind of clicky tactile feel. The Empire Strikes Back Graflex also has this chrome tape covering the Graflex logo on the clamp. It's got the circuit board style clamp card, and then it's got the Empire Strikes Back grips, which have the notch and the dummy screw heads, which are just kind of glued in place, and these are all adhesived in place. And then it's got the D-ring down the bottom. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the Empire Strikes Back configuration. This kit unfortunately doesn't come with a blade plug, but I know Khal over at KRSabers does sell blade plugs for the Graflex on his site, which are really good, so you might want to pick one of those up. But basically, I think that's pretty much it for the hilt itself, so let's get inside. To open it up, you just release the clamp lever, and then the clamp card will fall out, so don't lose that. And then the whole thing kind of twists off. This bottom section will rotate. You might need to pull it kind of forwards or backwards, depending on which way it's oriented. So just click it, twist it, and then the whole thing kind of shimmies off, like that, revealing the chassis underneath. The chassis does lock into place, but if you twist this the other way, it will unlock the chassis, so you might find that the chassis comes out with it. One thing I like to do with the Graflex clamps is the two bars that hold them in place. I flip one of the bars around 90 degrees or 180 degrees, so that you get an extra kind of half turn of tightness in the clamp system, and that kind of holds things in place a bit more snug. I do that on all the Graflexes that come through, because I just find it makes for a nicer fit. Things don't rattle around as much, so I made that modification as well. And then here's the bottom end of your chassis. This is the Goth3 Designs Eco CC chassis with a proffieboard 2.2, a absolutely massive 31mm speaker. This is the first time I've ever done a saber that has a 31mm speaker in, and it is loud. It's very impressive, very scary. So it's definitely a good choice for your first one, Martyn. The chassis itself clicks into place and twists to lock. So to unlock it, if you find the chassis is not coming out, you just rotate it and then it will slide out. And then you can see the crystal chassis here. It's got the two neopixel crystals up top, both illuminated separately. A stock rotary connector that makes contact with pins inside the hilt. Probably can't see. Oh, there they are. Look, those are the pins. And those pins connect to and hold the button housing in place, as well as the emitter stock PCB. So the chassis itself is pretty straightforward. It came together really nicely. It's a really good job by Rick. It's very nicely designed, very easy. I painted this one in matte black, and the crystal chamber has been painted in Deco Paint, I think the brand is, gold, just to give it a little bit more kind of visual interest, because the filament that these come printed in, I just personally don't like the look of it. I mean, some people do, a lot of people do, I just don't myself. So I like to paint these, and it only takes about 10 minutes, and it gives, I think, a more nice contrasted look, so I always do that for the chassis that come through if people want it. Battery. This is your 18650 chrome wrapped battery. I think it's brushed chrome technically. When putting the battery into the chassis, the top nipple of the battery goes against the contact plate with the nipple. In this chassis, for instance, it's nipple down, so the flat side goes against the spring side. If you put the battery in the wrong way, you will fry the soundboard, so don't do that. When putting this battery in, it's not a super tight fit. You should be able to get it in just pushing horizontally like this, just click into place, and that's it. And then flip your kill key and it will power up the board. So let's talk sound fonts. Martyn was a great customer in that he basically told me to do whatever I felt like doing. And so I made a Graflex that I knew I myself would like, and then I hope that I've delivered on everything that he wants. So the sound font package and the design of like the crystals and stuff, it follows the movies. So because this is the Empire Strikes Back configuration that we've gone for the hilt, I start on Empire Strikes Back, and then we go to A New Hope, and then we have The Force Awakens, and then the Rise of Skywalker right at the end. So there's a bunch of Graflex themed fonts on here. They're all Graflex related, because I think the way Martyn phrased it was you wouldn't want to put a Ferrari engine in a Ford car. Which is a nice way of saying it. Like I'm always the same with my character hilts. I try and keep them specific. So I've got like a Luke hilt that I've only got Luke fonts on. I've got a Graflex that I've only got Graflex fonts on, things like that. So hopefully that font package is good for you, Martyn. I think it works quite well, particularly given the sound and the way it sounds. The blade styles and configurations are matched to how they are in the movies. So the older trilogy, the original trilogy movies will have a kind of less saturated blue, more like a kind of icy blue, particularly in New Hope, where the rotoscoping that they used to make the blade visuals was kind of in its infancy and didn't really look that great. Like the blade was more kind of white off blue rather than the blue that we come to know it as in the later movies. Empire Strikes Back is a little bit more blue, and then the Force Awakens and the Rise of Skywalker variants are very, very blue. And the flashes and the contacts and the blaster blocks and all things like that, they all update based on which sound font we've got selected. So anyway, I'm rambling. What I like to do when putting the chassis back in, when you get the fucking hell, twist to activate, Jesus, told you it was loud. What I like to do when putting the chassis back inside is just power it off, just in case these pins make contact with anything inside the hilt and short out the board. It's very unlikely to happen, but you never know. So I always just flick the kill switch back off when I'm putting the chassis inside the hilt. And then if you look down inside the hilt, you may not be able to see it in the video, but there is a screw that kind of protrudes just on the inside, and that screw will lock into place in this kind of J channel that is on the crystal chamber. So if you line those two up, I mean, it won't go in any other orientation. Like if it's not lined up, it won't go in, so don't try and force it, but if you just twist it around gently, you'll find the spot where it suddenly goes in, there, where it lines up with the screw. Push it all the way home, keep going, keep going, keep going, and then give it a twist, and it will lock in place. And you might feel a little bit of resistance when you're pushing it. That means it's making contact with the springs, the pogo pins up inside the hilt, so that's good, that's correct. And then when it's locked in place, you can power it on. You'll get the boot sound, and then you can put the lower section of the grip on, of the hilt, push it in, twist it into place. Oh, gone a bit too far. Push it up, twist it, click, and then grab the clamp card. The clamp card for the Empire Strikes Back goes with the solder on the left-hand side. I have to try and get this backwards, and then you tighten the lever, and that'll lock everything in place. So,
what is it? Father's lightsaber.
This is the New Hope font.
This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight.
So it uses the FET263 2-button prompt, which I will send you all of the information on. Basically, the auxiliary button cycles through your sound fonts, and the power button will ignite, and then when the saber's on, the auxiliary and power buttons in combination will do different things. So let's find a good sound font.
That lightsaber was Luke's.
This is the Force Awakens one, so it's going to be nice and bright and nice and loud. I will boot it up, and then you can see how it performs. It's really bright, really loud. Put a few gesture controls on there for you. Twist on, twist off. The lights on the inside will time out after 3 minutes. So once the crystals are inside the hilt, basically, they're not going to keep draining the battery forever. Let's chuck a blade in. It takes a 1-inch neopixel blade, 1-inch diameter. It is pretty snug, so you may find you don't need to use the set screw.
The last Skywalker.
Click the activation or the auxiliary by accident. Slide this blade down inside, make sure it goes all the way down and makes contact with the pins. When you get your blade, I know you've bought a blade from somebody else, when you get it, you may need to check the fitment of it with this hilt. It could be that you have to sand it. I know I sent you a link on how to sand the blades. Definitely worth doing just so you can get it in easier without needing to kind of shove it every time, because that could damage the blade or damage the pins inside. But yeah, here we go. Let's boot up again with the blade. And then it's got all the usual proffie features like the blaster blocks when you click auxiliary. You can do lightning block. If you press and hold the blaster button, you'll enter blaster deflect mode, which does a deflect every time you swing. Click it again to get out of it. And if you press and hold power and click auxiliary, that's the lightning block. And if you hold power and if you hold auxiliary and click power, you'll enter the color change mode. So you can really kind of mess with things. And then twist off. I mean, that's pretty much like a whistle-stop tour of this saber. It's a really nice kit. It came together, like I said, it's very snug. It's a really nice kit. It came together really well. I hope you're happy with it. I've made sure to set up all the different kind of pre-ons that come with the various sound fonts on here. Every single sound font has appropriate music tracks for what it is. So if anyone else find a good example.
Rey Skywalker.
Let's do this one, and you press and hold power in holding it horizontally, you'll enter the track player, which is always fun. That's a good one. You get things like Rey's theme. Obviously, I'll send you all the button configurations for everything. When you're done with the saber, make sure you flip the kill switch to power it off. This version of proffieboard, which is Proffie 2.2, does not have a deep sleep feature, so it will continue to drain the battery forever, which you don't want. Just slide this off. I'm actually going to show you some of the crystal animations as well while I'm here. So the crystal animations are different, again, based on the blade styles. So if I power up with this one, with this blade style activated, which is Rey from Rise of Skywalker. Ooh. Hello. There you go. See, it flashes white on ignition and then mimics the blade, and it'll do all the clashes and stuff. I can't change font like this, but yeah, the crystals basically mimic the blade, and we'll do all of that stuff. So just power this off. And then it's ready to go into storage. That's pretty much it. I'll send you a list of the sound fonts that I've chosen to put on there. I will also send you the button configuration. If you have any questions or concerns, give me a shout. Any problems with the build, let me know and we'll get them sorted. If not, I will ship them out to you. I'll ship this out to you as soon as possible. Pleasure putting this one together for you, Martyn. Hope you like it. Hope it's the first of many high-end collectible sabers. And you even get your, presumably, first ever KRSabers challenge coin, which is pretty nice. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for watching. Take care. May the force be with you, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.